Hey, well, thanks so much for joining me today and congrats on your new song After Midnight.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
How have you felt about the initial response so far?
Honestly, it's been really awesome. Anytime as a new artist you release new music, you're always like, oh my gosh, I hope people like it. But the response has been really positive, so I'm excited.
What inspired you to make it?
So I was in Toronto, Canada, with a guy named Craig and a lady named Liz, and we were kind of going through different ideas of songs. They pulled out a song that they had co-written a little bit with another girl named Julia, and they were. Oh, sorry, my cat's like hanging out in the background out of nowhere. Sorry. All of a sudden, she wants to be my friend. We just adopted her like 2 months ago. Um, but anyway, so yeah, we just kind of started going through the idea that they had already tossed around, and I loved the way that it was sounding, and I wanted to rewrite parts of it, and loved the thought process of taking off the mask of this is who I am, but I take off this part of me and I'm still this person. So just like creating this song of like full transparency of yes, me being this way, but also me being this way and that being okay.
Well, I definitely didn't know about the Toronto connection. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, I was thinking about the lyrics and I was thinking about how it reminded me of the story from Victoria Beckham and how that made it so relevant because she was in the news for sharing this post that said her husband of 20 years had never seen her real eyebrows. And I don't know if that's just something she said to sell makeup or if it's true, but I thought it kind of showed why your song is relevant.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. I can't imagine. Never showing my real eye. I mean, hey, to each his own. You do your thing. But yeah, that was a it's just a part of me, even if you take it like deeper than just skin and beauty, like showing, hey, I've messed up in the past. This is really me. I've healed. And even whenever you see all of this underneath this like mask of who I am today, I'm still worthy of being loved, of being accepted, of, being who I am. And so, yeah. Wow, that's crazy though. I definitely show my real eyebrows often. I don't have the time or the amount of patience to do my eyebrows every single day.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those funny stories that made it go viral.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's really amazing how you launched your career in 2020 because that's when the world was really slowing down, but that's when your career was picking up. Have you had a chance to keep in touch with Kelly Clarkson from The Voice?
Oh, I wish. Unfortunately, no. I don't know. I don't know all of the details that go into the show, but I think there's some coaches that really do have a personal connection and stay in touch with their contestants, and some others that don't. Why? Rhyme or reason? I have no idea. But no, I'm super open to it though. I would love to be on our show. It is on my bucket list to be on the Kelly Clarkson show and to be reunited. It would be great.
For sure. I love her show. And I think that, sometimes there's famous people who I've met and you never see them again or a mentor. And like, that's just how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think that your voice and your talent really speaks for itself. So I'd love to get your perspective on a few things.
Yeah.
One of the biggest trends that I've seen is that musicians who have several albums and tons of greatest hits, they're starting to incorporate more cover songs on tour. What
Yeah.
advice would you give for them about how they plan their set list?
Like just for any artist that's putting cover songs in their set list.
Yeah, it seems to be quite a bit now.
Yeah, honestly, I think that good music is good music. And if it lasts, like if a song has the longevity of 10, 20, 30 years, my gosh, I'd want to sing it all the time. You know? I mean, there's a reason that we have legends like Aerosmith and Celine and Def Leppard and Kiss and my gosh, Mark Anthony. Like there's all of these songs that they're legendary artists because they're awesome, but also their songs are legendary too. So I think it's honestly really cool that so many artists are putting covers into their set because it's almost like paying tribute to so many other artists and songs that have come before them that have made such a lasting impact. So I think one of my favorites would probably be Purple Rain by Prince. I would love to put that in a set list. I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston. Would love to put that in a set list. If I could find a way to do Sweet Child of Mine, that'd be really cool by Guns N' Roses, you know? So, and I think also you're bringing in a wider audience, like whenever they're actually watching you perform, because somebody that may not pick my music first, if they see me singing Guns N' Roses, may be like, oh my gosh, that's really cool. I love that song. She loves that song. Maybe I'll really like her too. You know?
Yeah, well, I think we're definitely headed in that direction. We're going to see more of that.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the lyrics that was in one of your earlier songs, Summertime Anthem, was about MTV. And of course, MTV is iconic for many reasons,
Yeah.
but it's also quite a hot topic right now in the industry. MTV News, the website was just shut down. And like I personally get my news from LinkedIn. So, I heard perspectives from journalists and things like that. And I totally get it, if your work was deleted. But I'm really interested in your perspective as a musician and a content creator, an American, what you think about not just MTV, but the evolution of the industry overall.
Well, for being 1,000,000% transparent, I had no idea that it was just shut down. When did that happen?
Just MTV News, like I think within the last week or so.
Wow. Okay. I was like, man, have I been living under a rock? Like, which is also possible that I've just been living under a rock. Yeah, so I can't really speak to that because I don't actually know much about it. I had no idea, but I'm gonna go look that up. The only thing I can really speak to is MTV growing up being music television. Whenever we actually had music videos and everything on TV, I remember waking up and being like, oh, this is really cool. I was able to see artists and music videos and just art all morning and all day. So that's the part that I really loved for sure. Um, and that's really what I remember it to be. But I'll definitely have to look up the stuff about MTV News. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's interesting how you mentioned it being part of your routine. Like I grew up with much music in Canada, and I love that too. And I feel like we sort of had these different ambitions of you wanting to be the pop star and me wanting to be the host. And when the
Yeah.
news came out, it just got me thinking about like all the different things that happened for us to have this conversation. And I think it's so interesting. Like they sort of say that reality TV is what changed things the most, but it had to become popular in order for you to be on The Voice and then all these other things that happen. And like, I don't take it for granted that both of us made a few videos in our kitchen and then we ended up meeting each other. So I think it's some of it's sad, but some of it's cool.
Oh, for sure. I think just the evolution of social media. I mean, gosh, us being on our phones and computers and being connected to people from across the world with the click of a button. Like life didn't used to be like that. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, it's like you just played outside if you wanted to meet new people. Now you can just open an app and my gosh, there's an unlimited amount of people, which are, positive and negative. But I love the positive being you do get to connect with people in different countries and other continents. And, you know, it's so I think it's definitely a positive thing. And especially has helped me in my career being able to utilize apps such as Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And I mean, it just allowed me to share my passion for music.
Yeah, well, I definitely wanted to ask you about that too. I mean, you have over 1 million followers on TikTok and, of course, a huge audience overall. And I'm curious, have you ever had experiences or examples where you felt like there might be a disconnect between what people think happens when you hit 1 million followers versus what your everyday life is really like?
Absolutely. I laugh not at you or the question, but because it's just so real. I was talking to my husband the other day, Brandon, and I was like, I feel exactly the same as I did when I had 20,000 followers as I do when I now have over 1 million followers. I feel just the same, honestly. And I think even myself would have previously perceived people with such a large following to just have millions of dollars and be financially stable. And they're like, oh my gosh, we never have to work. And our passion is our work is our passion. And that's awesome. However, I do not have that luxury yet. We're going to get there. But as an independent artist, specifically, like, yes, I work with brands and, And yes, I love to collaborate with people, but I'm also working. Like I have a normal job because music is very expensive. And as awesome as it is working with brands and other people, that's not something that I can necessarily count on. Like this date, this is coming in, this is happening all the time. So I am right now, as a new artist, juggling daily life of working in a bar and singing for gigs, and then also running social media and TikTok and doing all of that and doing advertisements and working with brands and collaboration. So it's this middle ground of there's a much larger hustle that people don't necessarily always see on camera. And not because I'm trying to hide it. I'm super transparent about it, but the hustle isn't necessarily part of my content. And so it's just not a part that people see a whole lot. But I do meet people in the bar all the time. Like even yesterday, a girl came up and she goes, "Oh my gosh, are you on TikTok?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, you're Kelsie." And I was like, "This is crazy. Yeah, that's me." So, I mean, I'm really, really grateful and so blessed to be able to do what I do. But there also is definitely a reality of just because you have a certain amount of numbers of followers across a social media platform does not necessarily mean that you're not having to work outside of that.
Absolutely. I know that one of my favorite creators, Corporate Natalie, she just hit 1 million followers in like the last week or so. And you could see her celebrating it with her friends and family. And also because of what you said, like they know the hard work that goes into it. And that's why it's a milestone. And I
Yeah.
think that what's interesting about you is not just that you were on a show in 2020, but there's been some conversations. You might have seen some articles like how there are a lot of creators who took off during the pandemic, but you're kind of in your own category because you have that singing talent. And
Yeah.
like you might do a get ready with me video, but you're not relying on it for your income. So it's different.
Right. Oh, for sure. I mean, yes, like brands will want to be involved in my videos, and that's really awesome. But I mean, sure, some people care about my makeup, and I've had people ask about my rings and things like that, like with my audience. But yes, my main source of content is music. You know, it's music, me singing, me being creative, the writing process, and so that's what people are really wanting to see, as opposed to a get ready with me. So what I've started to try incorporating in order to kind of bridge that gap is get ready with me to go to rehearsal. Get ready with me for this gig, or hey, here's a day in the life of me, like while I'm in LA this week. So that way it shows people who I actually am, like authentically. And here's part of my day, and it's still musically related. So that way it's not just like coming out of left field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think those are good suggestions for anyone trying to build their brand as well.
Absolutely.
Um, so I have a few more questions. You sort of already hinted at one before we wrap up. What's a makeup or skincare product, like if you could only take one thing on tour, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, just one. Okay. Do I get to pick one for skincare and one for makeup, or does it have to be one for both?
You can pick one of each. Let's hear what you suggest.
Okay. Okay. For makeup, it's gonna be a hard tie between mascara and tinted sunscreen, like a moisturizing tinted sunscreen. There's Kosas, the Kosas brand, has this tinted sunscreen. Love. I'm obsessed with it. I wear it every single day. But then also, if I don't wear mascara, I look like I'm sick because I'm blonde naturally. So, like, my eyelashes are also blonde. So, I would hard tie between those two. Um, but then, as far as skincare, I'd say a really solid makeup remover. I use my cellular water, and so that's really awesome when I take that off. But I love skincare, so I'd say gotta have a good moisturizer, like have to. So it'd be between those two. But if I had to pick, I would pick the sunscreen, and I would pick the makeup remover.
I know those are very practical. I
Yeah,
agree.
I was about to say I gotta go with the practicality of it.
Well, it seems like you spend a bit more time in the bars in Nashville than I realized. What's
Yeah.
your favorite place in Nashville to listen to music?
Oh man. I don't realize that Nashville is as special as it is until I leave and then come back. So I have the luxury of, having a job where I travel a whole lot just with music and shows and gigs and things like that. And every time I leave Nashville and I go to other places, they're all amazing in their own special way. But you come back to Nashville and there is so much music everywhere. Like we're talking 5 blocks down Broadway, every single bar on every single level, which most of them are 3 to 4 stories high, have live music. And there's no cover to get in. Oh my gosh, you land at the airport and there's like 5 different guitar players, like immediately just like playing in each place. So, I mean, I don't have like a favorite place to just go listen. But if I were to go to like a show, there's a place called the Listening Room where you have typically 3 to 4 different artists or songwriters. Sometimes they're not even artists themselves, but they're songwriters that have written for other people. And it's called a writer's round. And so each person will go, it's like in a circle basically, talk about their song, play it, and everybody, like you have to buy a ticket to get in, and you have waiters, and you get to like have a snack and a drink and eat some food, and they have a brunch show and a lunch show and a night show. And so I would say the Listening Room Cafe is one of my favorite places in Nashville for sure.
Well, thanks so much for the tip.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Finally, I feel like we might know the answer to this, but I thought we should just get it on the record.
Yeah, let's do it.
Who is your favorite Canadian musician?
Okay, I mean, my initial thought is Celine Dion. Like obviously, she's my initial like, duh, of course. I'm not gonna lie, I am a massive Bieber fan. I love Justin Bieber. I've always been a big Bieber fan. But a recent one is Lauren Spencer Smith. I've been following her. I started following her on TikTok a while ago, and my gosh, she just like exploded everywhere. Like she's so incredible. And so I have recently followed her, and so I really love her as a Canadian artist as well. But as far as, I mean, I really don't think I could morally pick anybody other than Celine Dion. I actually have plans. I'm not kidding. Later today, one of my best friends is coming over and we're watching the Celine Dion documentary tonight. And I plan to just sob through the whole thing.
I think that sounds great. I mean, I definitely have to figure out a way to watch it.
I know. I know. Yeah.
I love Celine. I mean, I thought that's what you might say. And
yes. Yes.
I can't believe I've had this book for 20 years. I mean, her career was started so long ago that like I didn't have a blog yet, and I literally wrote a book report on this for elementary school. So she's been a huge inspiration to me too.
Yep. Oh, that's so cool. I mean, yeah, my gosh, I was brought up on her. I think that's probably the first thing my mom had me listen to when I was born was Celine Dion. It was just, it has been instilled into my genetics.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered a lot today. I'm so glad that we had a chance to connect, and I'm really excited to hear what's next for your career and your music. And I feel like, the sky's the limit. Like you never know who you might find dancing in your VIP box these days. So I can't wait to hear what's next. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I'm glad I got to talk to you. And the next time I'm in Canada, I'll hit you up and we'll go hang out.
That sounds perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.